Greetings, salutations, happy Tuesday, June the 23rd, 2026, 91 days until the beginning of autumn. A mere 91 days, so we're 3 months away from autumn, and I always like to look at the next season, even while I'm living one day at a time and looking at today. It's just a reminder of how fast these seasons go, and each day of those 91 days is going to count in summer. What am I going to do with it? So just to give you a little context of how I do that. It's good to be back to this daily format, which is more in the spirit of why I started doing this in the first place. So yes, June 23rd, it's like 69 degrees here in the New York City metropolitan area. And it's rainy. It's going to be rainy all day long. So it's kind of a tuck in and just get stuff done kind of day. Which is fantastic. Although I did feel kind of bad. Yesterday we had some major rain, like, I don't know if they were rain gusts or I don't know what you call it, but it would be raining really hard and then stop and then really hard again. And it was just sort of, it was a weird rain pattern. I guess, being originally from Oregon, you're used to sort of drizzle for 3 weeks, but in this case, it had a little more of an island feel in that sense, and where it kind of started and stopped. But it was very severe. I felt bad for the World Cup teams who were out there trying to play. So anyway, so there's that. Let's see. What do we need to know about today? Well, so I'm sourcing trivia from different places now. I've kind of broadened my scope. And today this caught my eye because today in history, June 23rd, was the day. Let's see. Well, I'm just going to read this article. This is from Britannica. Today in history, June 23rd, introducing the first typewriter. For generations, writers composed to the beat of this distinct percussive rhythm. And it all began on this day in 1868. When Christopher Latham Sholes, Samuel W. Soule, and Carlos Glidden were granted a patent for the first typewriter. Sholes was a printer and newspaper editor, and a bit of as this article calls him, a tinkerer. He had developed a page numbering device with Soule and Glidden, Glidden. Carlos Glidden encouraged Sholes to adapt the idea to put letters on the page, not just a page numbering system. When you put letters on it, and then that led to what we know as the typewriter. Turns out the first typewriter, though, it used users' press keys connected to metal type bars. Each bar struck an inked ribbon and left a crisp impression on paper wrapped around a rotating cylinder called a platum. The carriage then shifted. Of course, we know how the original typewriters worked. I mean, to some degree. But it mentions here that the original typewriters, it typed only capital letters and had no key for the number 1. So users had to use the letter L when they wanted to type the number 1. The original layout was alphabetical, which caused jams as typists gained speed. To fix this, Sholes rearranged the keys, strategically spacing out commonly used letters. And this layout became known by its first 6 letters, QWERTY. By 1868, the inventors had a prototype and a patent. But manufacturing at a scale required thousands of precision parts with consistent quality. So here's where I found this particularly interesting. After a decline in sales following the end of the Civil War, firearm manufacturer E. Remington and Sons was looking to diversify. Remington's expertise in precision machinery was a perfect fit for the intricate components of the typewriter. In 1873, it licensed Sholes' patent, and production began on the Remington Model 1 typewriter. And then, of course, before too long, it was an indispensable tool and a fixture in the literary world for writers like Mark Twain, Ernest Hemingway, Jack Kerouac, Sylvia Plath, etc. So, and of course, the typewriter led to many other things. So I think what the story really highlighted that's kind of interesting for me right now is that whenever you're growing an organization, you start thinking at some point about partnerships, and partnerships are pretty tough to pull off. You need a lot of things to be in alignment. But I've noticed over the years, one of the biggest challenges in finding good partners is that when you're trying to deal with your own organization, you are sort of self-centered by definition. You want to grow your company, your organization, your movement, your cause, whatever. And look, the most important thing to you is your own enterprise. So one of the traps that I've noticed can happen is when you're looking for a partner, you're thinking, well, who can bring me business? And that may not be the best way to look at it. Now, there are people who come across your client, and certainly if they were feeling generous, would send you clients or send you people that would bring you opportunity. But in this case, Remington was essentially, in bad shape because there was no more war to feed its coffers. So it had to reimagine itself. So sometimes the partners that we're looking for, if you just said, we have this typewriter and gosh, do you think that, this gun manufacturer could be our partner? On its face, you wouldn't think that. But of course, it was a perfect fit because it needed to remake itself. So one way to open your mind to partnerships is who's trying to do something new that has some kind of crossover to my business? And start asking that question. Who's remaking their company? Companies do remake themselves, Allbirds. I'm thinking of the company, the millennial shoes, Let's see, Allbirds, I think, has completely remade itself. Now they still have shoe apparel, but I think they're kind of reinventing their whole purpose. Let's see here. They've named a new CEO. Anyway, they're continuing AI pivot. Allbirds continues AI pivot with name change and CEO hire, sending stock soaring. That was from June 17th. So they are, Allbirds on Wednesday rebranded to Smartbird and announced Nadia Karastan as its new CEO. Now, Allbirds is known as the shoe, making shoes, for example. But they're remaking themselves as an AI company. So if you are looking for a partner and you have some kind of AI tool, Allbirds could be a partner for you. They're trying to completely become something totally different, and as was Remington at the time. So, or at least looking for ways to make money through their existing manufacturing expertise. So I don't know. It's always good to be thinking about what do other people need, and we tend to think about what the customer needs. But we can also think of what do the other partners need. Treat them almost like a constituent. If it's a manufacturer, they need to manufacture more stuff, but unless they're changing that, But anyway, it's a mindset shift that I think is really useful, because when you go into conversations, I've noticed, you go into conversations, if you're focused on, will this person send me people? People know this. They sense it. They get it. They know you want them to send them clients or send them opportunity or whatever. And they may do it just to kind of, sometimes it's just ingratiating in the beginning, but maybe they like you and they want to throw you a bone. But that's never going to sustain unless the partnership is truly mutually beneficial. And, unless you've got some healthy financial agreement where everyone gets paid every time. Sometimes those benefits come in other ways. But having a mindset of what do you need? What are you looking to do? What would help you? And seeing if you can help another, potential partner do that. It's a similar mindset to dealing with customers, right? And I just think it's a really good way to think of partnerships. Partnerships are hard to pull off. You need a lot of things in alignment. And I think it starts with your intention. It starts with your intention. So that is what's going on around here. Just working, trying to find good partners. And I'm thinking about that a lot. And working on building essentially a media company that, offers a bigger and bigger stage for clients to step onto. And that's really, really inspiring for me. So there needs to be a lot of partnerships to make. There need to be a lot of partnerships to make this happen. And that's why it's got me on this topic. All right. I hope that's helpful for whatever you are building or contemplating building and thinking about partnerships. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks as always for listening. We will check back again with you tomorrow. In the meantime, please be good to yourself and others. Bye-bye for now.